General Jeff Sessions gets grilled for 5.5 hours from both sides of the aisle as he testified in a fiery House hearing yesterday. Well, after being pressed by Democrats, he vowed he never lied under oath about Russia.
I can only do my best to answer your questions as I understand them and to the best of my memory. But I will not accept and reject accusations that I have ever lied. That is a lie.
Republicans also asked whether he'll open an investigation into Hillary Clinton over that Uranium One deal.
What's it going to take to actually get a special counsel?
We will use the proper standards, and that's what only thing I can tell you, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I appreciate
you can
that,
have your idea, but sometime we have to study what the facts are and to evaluate whether it meets the standard
well said.
that
So let me ask
requires
you this. If in fact,
a special counsel.
Well, here to weigh in on all of this is former State Department official under President George W. Bush, Paul Bonicelli, and former prosecutor David Bruno. David, I want to start with you on this concept of a special counsel on the Uranium One deal. On the legal side of it, Attorney General Sessions says, hey, it's got to meet the standards. So what exactly sets the bar?
Well, there's a statute that directs this, and it was applicable in the Mueller investigation. There has to be a conflict of interest. And candidly, I don't see the conflict of interest as it stands. And Republican lawmakers have been trying to get this appointment since July. They've sent multiple letters to Attorney General Sessions. And yesterday, in that heated exchange with Representative Jordan, it seems as if he doesn't think that AG Sessions will not be appointing that special counsel. There's a standard, and it looks like it hasn't been met with respect to Uranium One.
Okay, well, Paul, what do you think about this? You know, on the political side of this, there's so much pressure from Republicans for a special counsel in this situation. What do you think? Will Attorney General Sessions appoint a special counsel?
Well, I agree with everything David said, but would stress the politics of it. Both sides wanted to make their points. You know, these hearings are theater. When I worked on the Hill, some of them were substantive and many of them were theater. This was theater. This was each side getting to say what they wanted the public to hear about the other side. And so while I don't doubt that 19 members of Congress, Republicans, are sincere about wanting a prosecutor or a special counsel, they also wanted to make those points over and over, knowing that Jeff Sessions is probably taking it slower with this review and then may or may not appoint one. I have no way of knowing that. I do know this, though. There are plenty of people in the Justice Department that should be able to make these kinds of determinations. I'm not one that thinks we should jump to a special prosecutor all the time. We have one now with a conflict of interest, Robert Mueller, and that'll continue to be talked about.
Well, you know, David, let's talk about how Democrats were really pushing Sessions on his Russia dealings and really trying to catch him in a lie. In fact, Republican Congressman Jeffries referred to a media interview where Sessions was really calling Clinton out for basically forgetting what she had said before.
Right.
What do you think about his argument that it was a very chaotic campaign that he was taking part in?
Yeah, his account is not the only account that supports that. I mean, but the fact of the matter is, Attorney General Sessions has been before Congress within this last year 4 times. And he was before Congress 2 weeks ago, and that was before the indictment and the Papadopoulos plea came out. And he had to really clarify some things, but because he's corrected the record a number of occasions. One on the Ambassador Kislyak conversation and meeting, and now here on this Papadopoulos meeting in March, where apparently Papadopoulos said in a meeting with Sessions and Trump that he had the ability to make the connection, the meeting between Putin and Trump.
Yeah. Paul, what are your thoughts on this? Are we going to see more of Sessions having to testify on this Russia situation?
Probably, but I don't know how many more times he will be called up for something like this. But, you know, when you're a staffer of a low level, you try to get people's attention and you catch them at the door, you catch them at a dinner table, you try to say something. That sounds like what this was. For Sessions not to remember those specifics is not the end of the world. It's not like not remembering that you have an email server set up in your house that you and your closest staff are all avoiding government laws about, your communications. It's different things. I wish that there'd been better staff work. I wish that there'd been people who had grilled the Attorney General ahead of time, even while he was going through confirmation, and just remember every single one of these things and say what he did yesterday, which is, yeah, I barely remember this guy came up and said something about that, and I said, of course not, and moved on. We all can imagine how that would happen.
Yeah, it seems. Go ahead.
Lee, if I can on this point, it's more than just a meeting with Papadopoulos. That was in March. And with the statement of offense in the federal case against Papadopoulos shows is there are much more things Papadopoulos did over the next 6 months. And emails are going to be key here. If Attorney General Sessions is going to be coming back, I predict it's going to be because of some email that he received that he was copied on or something of that nature, because he was asked about them yesterday. He had no recollection, a common response to some of these questions. But Papadopoulos had multiple emails to the campaign and officials about these meetings.
Well, seeing that kind of documentation will definitely change what we're seeing going on in the future here. Paul, David, thank you.
Yeah, expect those to be leaked if they exist.
Yeah, I think we will. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good way to wrap that up.
Yeah.